Hey everyone, welcome to the weekly update for the week of June 15th, getting ready to wrap up Unit 2 of the course and move along to Unit 3. It's been super exciting to see all the great works and creative conversations that people are having in the course, to see people from different cohorts, from different school districts connecting with one another, with EdTech teacher, Digital Promise, Verizon staff. It's been a great experience so far, and I hope you all are enjoying it as much as we are. Unit 2 is a bit of a subversive unit in the course. I think most people, when they think of leadership, really think of starting from the perspective of, well, what am I going to tell people to do? How am I going to direct them? How am I going to show the way? And we really try to design the course to actually start by saying a great place to begin thinking about leadership is thinking about the communities that you're part of. What is it that other people value? What is it that they feel is important? How can you harness some of the energies that are already there and direct those kinds of energies towards a set of shared goals? We also often think of innovation as a mechanism to fix things that are broken, and by asking you in the Four Corners activities to think about what some of your signature strengths are and what some of the most important learning goals you have for your students are, I hope you had the opportunity to start thinking about innovation from the perspective of, what do we already do really well? What are we really excited about? What's going well that we could build on and strengthen through innovation? So hopefully those things got you thinking about leadership and innovation a little bit differently than sometimes we do in schools with too much of a top-down perspective and too much of a deficit perspective. And this gives us a chance to look at things from a bottom-up and strengths perspective. There's some great work that we saw in Unit 1 and Unit 2, looking at the activity 1.1 discussion. Had some great contributions from some teachers in the Irvine ISD school district down in Texas. Kara was talking about her powerful learning environment, describing it as a place with collaboration, with problem solving, with critical thinking. She was saying some of those powerful learning I've ever experienced is from my peers and coworkers. How can I make that possible for my students? Alyssa Womack, her three critical elements of powerful learning were opportunities for personalized learning, transparency, being a risk taker, being open to challenges, and being transparent about success and failure, and then the desire to think critically and really want to continue learning more. Clarifying what we believe are really powerful learning environments is a great step towards thinking about how we can create them for our students. We had a lot of great exercises and activities in 1.2 as well, where people were thinking about their high leverage initiative. I want to make a distinction between thinking about goals and thinking about an initiative. So some of the assignments that we saw had really nicely clarified goals. They said, one of the things I really want to do is provide my teachers with more professional development time. How do I create more opportunities for teachers to teach and learn from one another? That's a great goal, and I hope that one of the things that happens over the next few weeks is that you could take that idea of a goal and continue to refine that into a specific initiative. I'm going to create this particular kind of time for these kinds of teachers with these kinds of structures and goals. It's totally fine to be at the level of goals right now in describing these initiatives, but one of the things we'll do over the weeks ahead is try to refine them to make them more specific, more concrete, more actionable. Another one of our colleagues talked about the importance, the high leverage initiative she wanted to lead was about encouraging student empowerment. And again, student empowerment is a great idea, it's a great goal. What specific things can we do to prepare teachers to create learning environments that offer student empowerment? What's the specific initiative? What's the structure we can use to make that happen? So that's one of the challenges I have for you at the end of Unit 1, going into these next few units, thinking about those, turning those initiatives from these really powerful goal statements to specific things that we can do to bring those goals to life. In the Activity 2.1 discussion, we had some great comments from colleagues supporting one another. Melissa Humphrey had a great sort of clarifying questions for one of her colleagues. Can you elaborate the way that we implement a suite of ideas across subject areas? Does it mean students using the same application or program for different subject areas? What does that look like? I think those clarifying questions are really helpful to people. And then there are so many wonderful things that we saw in folks' Four Corners activity, particularly around the strengths that you saw for your schools. People talking about I think it was Mari Ortega was talking about how much she loves her colleagues and what a great source of strength they are for her. Other folks talking about, wow, my students are really an inspiration to me. I love checking in with them every day. So having that kind of sense of what our strengths are really helps us imagine what we can do and what kind of innovations that we can build on top of those strengths in the future. So thanks everyone for those participation in those activities. It's really exciting to see the field notebooks fleshing out. Hopefully you'll see those field notebooks as an opportunity for you to go out into your schools with your colleagues, connect with one another, and start these initiatives of making change in the world around you. Unit 3 is coming up this week, where we shift from bringing people together around the ideas they care about to refining a vision and getting to work. So having thought about what our colleagues care about, now as we want to think about what some of our community priorities are, what our personal priorities are as leaders, how we can sort of focus and think about particular efforts that we can move forward and really bring to those ideas a bias towards action. What are the kinds of things that we can start right now? What are the conversations that we can start? What are the sources that we can build? What are the resources that we can find? What are the meetings that we can create that really get things going, so that we do some planning, but we really want to have a bias towards action? What are the smallest initiatives that we can start and test right away so that we can have our innovation driven by multiple cycles of iteration rather than long periods of planning and then kind of one-time implementations? We'll dig a bunch deeper in Unit 3 into the cycle of experiment and experience, really helping you think about, especially for those of you who are outside of the classroom, but those of you inside of the classroom as well, what are some concrete steps that you can take to drive innovation? For those of you as teachers, what are the kinds of experiments you can do? How can you share that with others? For those of you who are outside the classroom, what are some concrete things that you can do about creating budgets for R&D, creating opportunities for sharing, building a shared instructional language and a shared vision that help accelerate that cycle of experiment and experience? You'll begin working on refining your high leverage initiative, really trying to focus on a deeper understanding, a more clarified vision of what powerful learning environments look like, and then what kinds of things will be able to help you bring those powerful learning environments about. So with all the work that we do, we're thinking about constantly refining, improving, cycling, and iterating. If there's anything that we can do to help you in the course, our frontline help, Avra and Anissa, are always ready to respond to any emails or other kinds of questions that you've had. If you've fallen behind a little bit, don't worry. There's always time to catch up. We're always willing to be flexible on timing and schedule and all those kinds of things. We know people get busy during various periods of time, and we want to support everyone in having a really great experience in the course. Again, thanks everyone for your participation, and we look forward to seeing you more online.